Good afternoon, and welcome to our October meeting of the Board of Regents. I'd like to call our meeting to order with a roll call. Regent Acker, Regent Beam, Regent Bernstein, Regent Brown, Regent Hubbard, Regent Illich, Regent Myers, Regent White. It's wonderful to be here at the University of Michigan, Flint. As you might imagine, I have deep affection for our regional campuses and everything they do for our state. I want to thank Chancellor Lawrence Alexander for his leadership and his team's hosting of us today. I also want to applaud the continued increase in enrollment we are seeing here in Flint. It's gratifying to know that U of M Flint is making a critical difference in people's lives, which in turn benefits the community and beyond. Congratulations to the enrollment management team and everyone who contributes to making U of M Flint an attractive and life-changing destination for students. I plan to return to Flint in early December and look forward to a more extended visit with our faculty, staff, and students. Since we last met, the university has launched a national media campaign showcasing our Look to Michigan vision and how we work for the public good. This is an impressive campaign that spans print, digital, audio, and social media in major markets nationwide. We want the nation to look to Michigan as a beacon of hope. We are working to lead our fellow universities in reaffirming public trust in higher education, and we have a powerful story to tell. I'd like to thank Vice President Richie Hunter and her communications team for their creativity and energy in leading this effort. One of Richie's colleagues from an outside organization had the perfect reaction to our campaign, saying, "Bold move. I love the swagger." I also want to commend Vice President Chris Kobe, who, with the board's approval today, will continue leading as our Chief Government Relations official for the next 5 years. I can't imagine any previous vice president for government relations navigating such a challenging, strenuous, and uncertain time as we've seen in recent years. Chris has done so with deep knowledge, patience, and good humor, and has been tremendously effective in seeing that the university continues to be well regarded in Washington, Lansing, and throughout our state. It's my pleasure to recommend him for reappointment. Finally, I'd like to say a few words about Regent Kathy White. Regent White, no? Okay, I'm not going to say anything about Regent White. She is a terrific regent. Okay. Well, I got to check those ahead of time. Who is also a regent. Illich is a terrific regent. Regent Acker is a terrific regent. Regent Hubbard. I'd like to invite Chancellor Alexander to introduce today's speaker for today's presentation. Lawrence?
Thank you, President Grasso. I'd like to introduce Dr. Khalid Malik. Dr. Malik is a professor of computer science and director of cybersecurity in the College of Innovation and Technology. His research focuses on the integrated areas of AI, healthcare, and information security to design secure, intelligent, and decentralized decision support systems by employing multimodal, federated, trustworthy, and neurosymbolic AI. In cybersecurity, his research focuses on developing forensic examiners for authenticity, integrity, and veracity of audios, videos, and images, including deepfake detection. In healthcare, he focuses on prediction of cerebrovascular and cardiovascular events using clinical text and multiple medical imaging modalities. Dr. Malik's research is supported by multiple National Science Foundation awards, the Department of Energy, the Brain Aneurysm Foundation, the Michigan Translational Research and Commercialization Innovation Hub, and various local and global industry partners. At this time, please join me in welcoming Dr. Malik.
Thank you, President Grasso, Chancellor Alexanders, and members of the Board of Regents for providing me an opportunity to present my research today. I am Khalid Malik, Director of SMILES Lab and Center for Cybersecurity. I'm excited to share some of my teamwork and meaningful impact it has created in last decade. For an investment of a $5, few video clips, and less than $3, a video of anyone could be created saying or doing anything. And these videos are becoming very realistic. A time will come soon, if it's not here now, where the majority of the people will be completely unable to differentiate between reality and the fakeness. And certainly this requires a help. And currently there isn't any. Manipulated audios and videos are no longer just entertainment. They can undermine institutions such as judiciary system, the economy, and even national security. At SMILES Lab, we have invested approximately $1.3 million and a decade to develop a robust deepfake detection tools. The technology we developed is now being commercialized through UFM Flint first ever startup. It's poised to enter a global market nearing a $1 billion. It's an innovation born here in the Flint, protecting truth in digital era. Stroke. It's a terrible word, a literal bringer of death and permanent disability. But what if I could tell you that some causes of impending strokes, such as cerebral and aortic aneurysms, warrant treatment and other could be monitored or left alone? How would your neurosurgeons or cardiologists will make such informed decisions? The SMILE Lab has taken on this challenge, marrying neurosymbolic reasoning with multimodal AI, or the ability to approach the problem from several different angles or modes. When we add an additional layer of the knowledge of the experts, physicians, to the puzzle, something truly special emerges, which we call as neurosymbolic AI. We plan to use this system to classify potential aneurysms in the brain and heart, enabling physicians to literally cheat death and long-term disability. Forged in accordance with elite medical teams from the Henry Ford Hospitals, Mayo Clinic, and right now with the partnership of University of Michigan, StrokeNet is projected to revolutionize the classification and treatment of the brain and aortic aneurysms. Full stop. A global partnership quietly settled into UFM Flint in mid-2024. Netstar Incorporation, which happens to be formerly my employer as well, a Japan-based world leader in web filtering, came to the SMILES Lab with a problem. Could we continue to make the internet safer for kids in the age of end-to-end encrypted traffic using neurosymbolic and multimodal AI? This led the team on exploratory audacity to try and solve this pressing problem. The partnership is ongoing, and SMILE Lab is hopeful we can make a small part of the solution to this complex issue. From the deepfake detection and AI-driven health diagnostic to international cybersecurity collaboration, My team is trying to embody the innovation and impact that define the University of Michigan Flint. In the coming years, I hope to see the projects and many more. I hope to see these projects and many more comes to fruition. Proto team will be relocating to office across campus on November 1st. And this is just the beginning. We are working on many exciting developments. I dream of seeing an overhaul of cybersecurity curriculum, one that embraces generative AI without using as a crutch. Advances in Michigan cyber readiness and media forensic centers are on the horizon, and place where AI and neurological and cardiovascular research go hand in hand. All of that is possible. We can make it happen. Whether it's a FOID multimedia detection product, advances in cybersecurity education, cyber research, tackling near impossible aneurysm rupture classification, or creating a world-class media forensic center, or pioneering advances in neuro and cardiovascular research. My team is the pinnacle of the University of Michigan Flint College of Innovation and Technology. Lastly, I would like to give a credit to all of the collaborators and sponsors who helped us to achieve these milestones. Thank you very much.
Dr. Malik.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you again.
Thank you.
We now like to turn to the Regents committee reports, and we'll begin with Finance, Audit, and Investment Committee, Regent White.
Thank you. Investment Committee met this morning, including Regents Bernstein, Hubbard, Myers, and White. We met with the EVP CFO, Jeff Chattis, and Chief Investment Officer, Eric Lundberg, for an update on the endowment. The committee reviewed the fiscal year 2025 external audit results and the required auditor communications with PricewaterhouseCoopers auditors, and reviewed the audit services charter with Hillary Nachtrab, Interim Executive Director of Audit Services.
We'll turn to Personnel, Compensation, and Governance Committee, Regent Illich.
Thank you, President Grasso. The committee, including Regents Acker and White, met with Provost EVP McCauley and Vice President John Kinsey for a discussion with Dean of the College of Engineering, Karen Tolley. Thank you.
Health Affairs, in lieu of Regent Beam, we will have Regent Brown.
The committee, including Regent Beam, met with EVP M.A. Miller for an update on U of M Health, and with Eric Strutko, Michigan Medicine CFO, for an update on finances. We also received a number of informational reports. Thank you.
As we learned, thank you very much, Regent Brown. As we learned last week, our CFO, Jeff Chattis, will be leaving U of M to become the Chief Operating Officer at Yale University. Jeff has helped navigate the university through some very challenging times, including COVID, and most recently, cuts and threats to our federal funding. Through everything, we have remained fiscally strong because of his insight and acumen. Yale is fortunate to have him join their leadership team, and we will miss him in Ann Arbor. Regent Bernstein, I know you'd like to say a few words.
President Grasso, I may be getting ahead of myself here, but it's never a bad time to praise a colleague. I have the honor of reading this Regents resolution regarding my colleague and friend, Jeff Chattis. The Regents of the University of Michigan extend their congratulations to Jeffrey Chattis, Executive Vice President and Chief Financial Officer, on his appointment as Senior Vice President of Operations at Yale University, the Michigan of the East. Mr. Chattis will be stepping down from his position at U of M effective October 31st. Executive Vice President Chattis was appointed to his current position in October of 2021. He previously served as Senior Vice President and Chief Operating Officer at Georgetown University and as Senior Vice President for Business and Finance and Chief Financial Officer at The Ohio State University. He led U of M's business and finance organization, which includes investments, finance, facilities and operations, and human resources. He oversaw and helped to develop the university's diversified financial strategy, resulting in continued strong support for faculty, research, and clinical care, and helped keep a U of M educational accessible to students from all backgrounds. Recently, he provided leadership in navigating complex federal research funding issues and in the development of the Campus Plan 2050, a roadmap for campus development, sustainability, and innovation. He leaves the university financially strong and well-positioned for the future. The Regents thank Executive Vice President and Chief Financial Officer Chattis for his friendship and service and wish him all the best in his new role.
I want to add that Jeff is the best CFO in the country at a major university. We, the board, don't want to see you leave, and we're hoping this isn't the last word.
Thank you, Jeff, I wanted to thank you too for your service here. We met when I first was included in the interviews for you in the final round, and was incredibly impressed then and continue to be. We were able to work closely together when I chaired the Finance, Audit, and Investment Committee, and then of course the board. And your expertise in this area, your guidance and your direction is something I'll never forget. And so I really appreciate all of your time here, and hope that we will keep in touch very closely in whatever it is you end up doing next.
Thank you. Jeff, I just want to thank you for your service. One of the skills that I thought that you brought to the university that was so wonderful was the willingness to change, to be innovative, and to try to look for better ways, more efficiency on how we do things. And you made such a difference in that area. I'm going to miss you a ton when we build our new arena. I hope you'll come for the opening, hopefully someday soon. You've been a great advocate for women and women's sports. And I just want to thank you publicly for that. They're very lucky to have you at Yale.
Jeff, I would reiterate everything that my colleagues said today. And I remember going back to the interview, getting to meet you for the first time, and I had a feeling even then what an incredible impact you were going to have on this school. And I remember asking you if you were an alum, and you said, no, it's better, I'm a townie. And I really appreciated that humor, but that actually meant something because you understood the values of our campuses. You understand the place that we all come from. And no matter where you go, you're always going to be one of us. And I know to your incredible wife, Katie, who will probably still have to root for Ohio State University, I know that you will be wearing the Block M come November. So thank you so much again for everything, Jeff.
With Jeff's pending departure, Bobby Hewlett, our current Vice President for Finance, will serve as Executive Vice President and Chief Financial Officer in an interim capacity starting November 1. Jeff, Bobby, and I are working on a smooth transition, and I'm grateful to both for their contributions and leadership. Please join me in congratulating Jeff Chattis. Jeff, do you want to say anything?
Will, I'm a little, sorry, choked up a bit, but thank you all so much. I have to tell you, it's appropriate that my final board meeting is in Flint, Lawrence, because my four grandparents came to this country in the 1920s from Greece, and they settled here in Flint. And my mother was one of five sisters, and my father was an only child, but all six went to University of Michigan. And as I was adding it up last night, in the 80 years we've been involved as a family with the university, we have 15 degrees across the generations. And so President Grasso looked to Michigan indeed. So Michigan has had a profound influence in my life, in our family, and what we do, going from immigrants to the doctors and lawyers and you name it that we have, thanks to this incredible institution. It's been the honor of my life to work here. I appreciate working with my amazing colleagues at this table, the board, and my team, who many of whom are here today in business and finance. So thank you again, and forever go blue.
Thank you, Jeff. And I personally will miss working with you, but I know you'll do a good job for the Bulldogs out there. I'd like to call on Regent Acker, who would like to say something.
Thank you, President Grasso. And I'm sorry to change the mood in here very quickly, but I'm going to do that. I apologize, Jeff. It's time someone said so, so I'm just going to say it. Enough is enough. The Big Ten is considering an infusion of cash from equity in exchange for a long-term share of our conference, our revenue, our future. How did a league made up of 16 public universities and two of our nation's most prestigious private universities get to this point? College sports are supposed to be about student athletes. It's supposed to be rooted in communities and alumni, tradition, and rivalries. Why did we trade Michigan playing Minnesota for the Little Brown Jug, the oldest trophy in football, for Michigan State playing at USC, finishing at 2:33 in the morning East Lansing time? Even the ancient Trojans and Spartan warriors needed sleep. Why does Maryland no longer play at Cameron Indoor Arena? And why is the Apple Cup no longer during rivalry week? Why are teenagers competing in swim meets and lacrosse matches flying cross country on red eyes before finals rather than busing home in time to celebrate a victory with their friends on campus that evening? When did we forget about our students who we are supposed to serve and whose welfare which we are entrusted? When did we feel it fit to ignore our alumni who are dedicated to our universities with an almost religious fervor? It's always a punchline to make fun of Walmart Wolverines, but let's not forget that nearly every Big Ten school ultimately belongs to the taxpayers, whether they or their kids attended those schools or not. Who speaks for them when selling our equity? Enough is enough. The Big Ten has expanded 4 times, adding 7 schools in the last 14 years. On each of these occasions, we were told that the new revenue would be enough to cover soaring expenses. We were told we had to do this. A football title game, more basic cable fees, adding Los Angeles, adding a West Coast wing. I'm glad these institutions are part of the league. I really am. However, here we are trying to solve the same old problem with a new and this time rushed solution. Now we have to do this deal, giving away 10% of future media revenue for the next 21 years, even though no one knows what college athletics or media will look like. The ACC once thought a long-term deal was a good idea. Within a few years, they were suing each other. Make no mistake, in 5 years, we would all regret this deal. At Michigan, my fellow trustees and I have a fiduciary responsibility to our institution. I can't imagine how anyone with that charge could sign off on this. There is a reason why private equity companies and public equity companies and pension funds are tripping over themselves to make it with us. Enough is enough. You can't borrow your way out of a spending problem. And until these soaring expenses are addressed, throwing short-term problems is akin to opening another credit card. There are creative ways to address some of this. Scheduling, travel, construction, debt management terms. Federal legislation is coming. Time is on our side. There should be no rush to leap into this, especially when the future is so unknown. The consultants and banks that we've reviewed this deal, including some of the experts on this board, were unequivocal in their opposition in this type of deal. They recommended different ways to address deficits and raise money. They say we can do it more efficiently without selling assets. Collectively, as institutions, we are very strong. Michigan has been part of this conference from over a century. We plan on being part of it for at least a century more. We understand the responsibility to lift all boats and to help schools that need money to get that money. It just has to be on the best financial terms possible. The Big Ten does not need to be sold to save college sports. It needs to lead to save college sports. Now, I'm not naive. I know this is big business, but when did we get to the point where the students in our charge and our care became incidental, especially if they play a non-revenue sport? What happened to their growth, their well-being? It's time to change how we do everything. College sports do not need to be maximized. They need to create memories. They don't need a system-wide solution. We need a sensible one. We can't cry poverty while spending tons and millions of dollars on bailouts and buyouts. We can't have college sports, the collegiate experience, dictated by private equity or TV executives telling us what to do in the commissioner's office or in the Fox suite. We can balance budgets, we can modernize governance, we can collaborate on media rights and other challenges, but we cannot sell our legacy to private investors and pretend that it's progress. This is a shell game. We are the stewards of something bigger than a balance sheet. We are the guardians of communities, of rivalries, of Saturday afternoons that knit together generations. If we forget that, then no model, no merger, no media rights deal can save us. When we treat college football fans like customers, they will treat us like any other business and abandon us when it suits them. Many already have. So today, I'm asking the presidents, the trustees, and the regents, all of us, to say with one voice that college sports belongs to the students who play, the fans who cheer, and the taxpayers who built these universities and the alumni who graduated from them. These are our investors, and it's time we focused on returning value to them, our true shareholders. Let's write a new kind of Michigan statement, not to maximize college football, but to restore it. This isn't just about sports, it's about who we are, universities founded for the public good. And for me and for Michigan or the Big Ten, that should be good enough. So it's time to lead as the fiduciaries entrusted by the people of Michigan. After the conclusion of this football season, let's meet. Board leadership of all of our sister Big Ten universities, come to Ann Arbor for the first ever summit of Big Ten trustees to talk about the future of college athletics. There, we can talk about a path to the next decade, but also about what comes next. We look forward to hosting you and having real discussion with trustees, athletic, and presidential leaders about how we can chart a better course for the Big Ten and college sports. Thank you.
Do you want to say something, Regent?
And I would be delighted to attend such a summit.
Thank you, Regent. Okay, Regent Bernstein.
I just want to add my voice to this. We spent a lot of time thinking about this as a board. I suspect we probably spent more time than other boards in the Big Ten Conference, as from our conversations with colleagues on those boards. This is, of course, a very important decision and a moment of perhaps a moment of great consequence for the Big Ten and for intercollegiate athletics at our level. And who would have thought that the Big Ten conference would need a bailout like this? And make no mistake, that's exactly what this is. It's basically, my colleague Carl, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but has characterized this as a payday loan, a very big payday loan. But that's pretty much exactly what this is. And I just think it's important that we appreciate that there are alternatives, viable alternatives to this approach that should be considered, and that the conference's failure to do so is both, in my view, reckless and short-sighted. And the contrived urgency of this matter is frankly mysterious to me and to my colleagues on this board. The conference needs to slow down and consider better ways to address the very real problems facing some Big Ten universities and their athletic departments. But it is the job of a board, it's certainly the position of this board, to protect the future from the present. And that is why the U of M board opposes this private equity deal and urges other Big Ten universities to do the same.
Thank you, Regent Bernstein. Before we move on to the consent agenda, I will call for a vote of conflict of interest items, each one of which requires 6 votes for approval. Does anyone need recusal from voting on a particular item? Is there a motion to approve finance and property items 8 through 22? Second? Okay. A show of hands in favor? Opposed? Okay, the motion carries. We now turn to the consent agenda, beginning with a report from Vice President Lupia.
Thank you, President Grasso, and good afternoon. I have the honor of serving you as Vice President for Research and Innovation. And in that capacity, I'm grateful for the opportunity to announce a noteworthy university-wide accomplishment. For the second time in our university's history, we have surpassed $2 billion in research expenditures. Our $2.16 billion of expenditure makes the University of Michigan one of the largest comprehensive public research universities in the country. 2.16 billion. That's a big number. But what matters more is what it means to the people of our state and our nation. It means that when families want life-saving clinical trials and hospitals want the newest and most effective medical treatments, they look to Michigan. It means that when our state wants to stimulate economic growth around transportation, around artificial intelligence, and other technologies that improve our quality of life, they look to Michigan. It means that people from all over the world who are seeking a trusted partner to examine the most important topics of our day look to Michigan. Now, reaching this milestone represents a 5.9% increase in research volume compared to the previous year. This increase reflects the innovation and persistence of our researchers and support staff across our campuses in Ann Arbor, Dearborn, and right here in Flint. In fact, we've seen remarkable growth and innovation on all three campuses. It is amazing to witness. And all of this work is making a real difference and creating economic opportunities. In the last year alone, our work, led by University of Michigan's Innovation Partnerships Unit, created 31 new startup companies and a record-breaking 673 licensed inventions. Each one of these enterprises is a potential job creator and a catalyst for positive change. Now, coming back to our $2.16 billion number, it's important to note that these expenditures reflect grants that the University of Michigan has received in previous years. We all know that recent changes in the federal funding landscape have led to a decline in the amount of research funding available to all research universities. Those changes will affect us, and we expect next year's numbers to decline. At the same time, we are Michigan. We are innovative. We are resilient. We are dedicated to public service and to serving the people of our state and our nation as effectively as possible. We will continue to be a trusted partner in research, and we will continue to stay on offense. Because when people, governments, companies, nonprofits, and startups who could work with any organization in the world seek a dedicated, inspired, and principled partner to advance the most challenging questions of our time, they look to Michigan. So to the Regents, to university leaders, and to everyone in the broader University of Michigan family, we are grateful for your support. It's an honor to do this work beside you, and go Blue.
Thank you. Thank you, Vice President Lupia, and I love your refrain. Now we'll turn to Chancellor Scarlato, who will give the Dearborn campus report.
Thank you. Thank you, President Grasso. I'm happy to share a few updates from the Dearborn campus. We held a very successful conversation with the Chancellor on September 23rd. We discussed a range of matters, from enrollment to how we are supporting faculty in the age of AI, and we had a very positive reception. We've also welcomed several guests from Ann Arbor. During the homecoming week, President Grasso held a campus forum. We were very pleased to welcome him back to campus, and we had a very lively question and answer session, and after hearing about some important priorities on the Ann Arbor campus. We also welcomed Vice President for Information, Ravi Pensky, who presented on cybersecurity and vulnerabilities. And just last week, we welcomed Vice President for Communications, Richie Hunter, and several members of our team to learn more about the Look to Michigan campaign and initiatives. So we had great conversations with both, and we left with new ideas for collaboration. So I want to thank my colleagues for coming to the Dearborn campus. I'm also happy to report 2 new grants, continuing with Skip enthusiasm, to Dearborn faculty for their impactful research. Associate Professor of Neurobiology, Elena Zhang, has been awarded a $1.1 million grant in partnership with Washington State University from the National Institute of Health. I say Washington because we're playing them, right? Okay. This project will pioneer an innovative nanotechnology that zeroes in on injured brain regions. The approach is expected to lead to brain injury treatment that is more effective and with fewer side effects. Professor of Mechanical Engineering Alan Argento has been awarded a $600,000 grant from the National Science Foundation in partnership with Dr. Wan Shu at the University of Michigan Medical School. And their project has the potential to improve decision-making about surgical intervention in patients with glaucoma. So we're very pleased to see our resilient faculty continue to write and secure external funding. So go blue, go Dearborn.
Carlotta. Chancellor Alexander will give the Flint campus report.
Thank you, President Grasso. And thank you to the Board of Regents and executive officers for joining us on the Flint campus today. Special thanks to the Regents for dinner on last evening with our leaders of our campus. We very much enjoyed your company and the conversation that went forth. I would like to recognize Jim Hargett, who recently joined U of M Flint as Vice Chancellor for Business and Finance, bringing nearly 30 years of financial leadership experience, including more than 24 years in higher education. Jim most recently served at Oakland University as Associate Vice President for Finance and Controller. Jim succeeds Jerry Glasgow, who retired after 37 years of dedicated service. We also have a new provost on board, Dr. Abby Parrell Baker, who joined us this summer from the University of Memphis, where she served as Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences. We also would like to express our gratitude to Dean Yenner Candigan for his service as interim provost. And we also recently welcomed the new dean of our College of Arts and Sciences and Education, Dr. Ted Rippey, who joined us after serving as associate dean of the College of Arts and Sciences at Bowling Green State University. And thanks to Chris Douglas for his leadership as interim dean of the college. At this time, I'm going to ask those new leaders, Jim, Abby, and Ted, to stand, and let's welcome them with a round of applause. That was Abby and Jim standing. In just its 5th year, U of M Flint's moot court team has achieved notable national rankings by the American Moot Court Association for the 24-25 season. The team placed number 19 overall in the U.S., number 13 in appellate court brief writing, up from number 22 last year, and number 23 in oral advocacy. Congratulations to our team and Professor Kimberly Sachs, the team's advisor. Senior Associate Librarian for Instruction and Outreach, Liz Svoboda, has been named Michigan's Academic Librarian of the Year by the Michigan Academic Library Association. The award recognizes the outstanding accomplishments of a Michigan ALA member and their contributions to their institution and academic libraries. Svoboda is highly active in creating new and innovative ways for the Thompson Library's impact to be felt throughout the campus. We also extend our congratulations to her. Fiscal year fundraising is off to a good start on the Flint campus. The university is fortunate to have recently received the nearly $955,000 gift from the estate of Professor Emeritus Ellis Perlman to establish the Miriam and Ellis Perlman Fund for Public Service Education. The fund will help to create the next generation of public service professionals by generously providing annual financial support to 5 deserving graduate students. The Francis Wilson Thompson Library recently received a $600,000 gift from the Dorothy Gay Davis Trust. Davis served as a librarian at U of M Flint for 31 years, retiring from her role as Government Documents Associate Librarian in 2008. She made numerous contributions to the university after her retirement, including support for the School of Management, renovation, student services, and many annual gifts. A portion of the funds will soon be used to create a more comfortable environment through new spaces such as family-friendly study rooms and renovations of existing study areas. On this day, we gratefully acknowledge the generous support of the Professor Emeritus Ellis Perlman Estate and the Dorothy Gay Davis Trust, whose meaningful gifts to our campus honor the donors' legacies and will have a lasting impact on our students and our community. President Grasso, that concludes my update. Go Flint and go Blue.
Thank you very much, Chancellor Alexander. That concludes the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve? Second? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to finance and property. The FY 2026 University Budget Book is an item for information. The next 6 items will be taken together in one vote. University of Michigan lease at 1700 M Street in Washington, D.C. University of Michigan lease at 1000 Victor's Way, Ann Arbor. The University of Michigan financial statements for the year ended June 30th, 2025. Camp Davis Mess Hall replacement, University of Michigan Transportation Research Institute addition, and the Regional Clinically Integrated Network. Is there a motion to approve all 6 items? Thank you, both. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Okay. VP Baird has a supplemental item.
So I'm pleased to say that donors continue to look to Michigan for impact. I'm very pleased to share the news today about a wonderful gift from Regent Emeritus Ron Weiser. Ron Weiser's incredible legacy continues at Michigan, building on gifts that we've received before in the areas of groundbreaking cancer research, strengthening democracy and emerging diplomacy around the world, pioneering food allergy research, and so much more. I'm going to turn to Ward Manuel to provide a little bit more detail.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you to the Regents and President Grasso. This is a wonderful, wonderful announcement. And once again, we are the recipient of Ron Weiser's amazing generosity to U of M and to Michigan Athletics. And so I would request your approval of opportunity to name our wrestling head coach after Ron Weiser, and our director of track and field and cross country after his son, Mark Weiser. Both gifts are just a testament to their families' support of Michigan and Michigan athletics. I am proud to say we don't get a lot of gifts from former athletes. And so when you think about what this means and the message that it sends to our student athletes and to our students about giving back to the institution in support of the great forward-looking success that we can have from this kind of support, it is just indeed my honor. He's been a friend of mine for over 2 decades. He's been a friend of the university for more than that. And so I would ask that the Regents approve the naming of these 2 positions. Sean Burnett, our wrestling coach, would be the Ron Weiser head wrestling coach. And Kevin Sullivan, both of them former student athletes, Kevin and Sean. Kevin Sullivan would be the Mark Weiser director of track and field and cross country. Thank you.
Thank you, AD Manuel. Is there, did you want to say something? Yep, yeah. Please.
You said about Ron. I mean, a true Renaissance man as an athlete and a scholar. It's humbling that once again, he's giving an incredible gift as well as his son, Mark. I hope he's in Northern Michigan riding his bike. Wish he was here to hear this, but again, just thanks to Ambassador Weiser. It's humbling and amazing the impact he's had.
Regent Illich.
Echo Regent Brown's comments and thoughts. Ron has really, really been remarkable. What we haven't mentioned is he also was a regent, and he's been a dear friend to many here at the table. It's really great, Ward. Great job to you and Tom Although he's kind of easy, isn't he? He's not to take anything away from you, but he is just so incredibly generous, his family, and he just keeps on giving to the university, which really makes a difference. So I'm sure Ron is somewhere in northern Michigan, but thank you so much, Ron, for your generosity.
Thank you. Thank you. I would like to also add my thanks to former Regent and Ambassador Weiser for his incredible generosity, which has been remarkable over the years, and we're all beneficiaries of his generosity and vision. Is there a motion to approve the naming? Second? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. We have several additional supplemental items brought forward by EVP Miller, followed by a vote on all four. The first is request to accept a gift of land for new facilities donated anonymously for this purpose.
Thank
Dr.
you,
Miller.
President Grasso. I'm pleased to bring forward a request to accept a gift of approximately 5 acres of land located near the Francis and Kenneth Eisenberg Troy Center for Specialty Care, which has been generously and anonymously donated.
Next is a request to name a new outpatient cardiovascular services space, the Samuel and Jean Frankel Cardiovascular Center. Dr. Miller.
Mr. President, I'm pleased to bring forward a request to approve the naming of an approximately 25,000 square foot new outpatient facility in Troy, the Samuel and Jean Frankel Cardiovascular Center, effective immediately.
Thank you. Next, a request to name the Sidney and Madeline Forbes Advanced Imaging Center. Dr. Miller.
Mr. President, in acknowledgement of Sidney and Madeline Forbes' exceptional generosity to the University of Michigan and this significant commitment, I'm pleased to bring forward a request to approve naming the facility the Sidney and Madeline Forbes Advanced Imaging Center, effective immediately.
Thank you. Next, the University of Michigan Troy Specialty Care Campus. Dr. Miller.
Mr. President, I'm pleased to bring forward a request to approve the Troy Specialty Care Campus project and to authorize issuing the project for bids, awarding construction contracts, and start construction with approval by the EVP CFO and EVPMA. Mr. President, I'm pleased to share great news today about several transformative gifts that will allow us to expand our access to patients in Southeast Michigan with 2 interconnected facilities planned in Troy, Michigan. Our Michigan medicine team is so grateful for these gifts from Madeline and Sidney Forbes and donors who have chosen to remain anonymous. This philanthropic support is crucial to allow us to expand access to our specialty care to more people in Michigan. Each year, close to 200,000 people in Southeast Michigan drive to Ann Arbor from their homes in Oakland, Macomb, and Wayne counties to get care from our Michigan medicine teams. These gifts will allow us to bring that care closer to their homes. The gifts will enable us to design and build the Sidney and Madeline Forbes Advanced Imaging Center and an outpatient center for the Samuel and Jean Frankel Cardiovascular Center. These new gifts will be built next to our Francis and Kenneth Eisenberg Troy Center for Specialty Care, which is currently under construction in Troy near the Somerset Collection. With state-of-the-art imaging technology and treatment capabilities, the Sidney and Madeline Forbes Advanced Imaging Center will facilitate earlier diagnoses and more effective therapies for patients with cancer and a wide range of diseases. The outpatient center of the Samuel and Jean Frankel Cardiovascular Center will bring the outstanding expertise of our cardiovascular teams to a much more convenient location for many patients and families. Again, I want to express my deepest gratitude to Sidney and Madeline Forbes for their leadership and dedication in this effort and their continuing support of the University of Michigan. We extend our utmost gratitude to all the donors involved. All of these gifts are truly transformative and will make a difference in the lives of the people we serve. Thank you, and go Blue.
Thank you, Dr. Miller. Is there a motion to approve the 4 supplemental items introduced? Second? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to Section 10. Today, we are requesting your approval for a modification to the Statement of Student Rights and Responsibilities. The university has had this policy on the books since the 1990s. A year ago, we changed our procedures. Today's amendment reinstates the use of an appeals board to review hearing outcomes and provide recommendations to the Vice President of Student Life. Is there a motion to approve? Second? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Finally, we have a student government report from Samantha Jarbu, President, Flint Student Government.
At the University of Michigan Flint. I am a junior majoring in biology with a pre-medical concentration, and I proudly represent our diverse and resilient body of over 7,100 students. U of M Flint is truly a unique place. Our students are determined, our faculty and staff are deeply committed to student success, and our community stands beside us with pride in the city of Flint. This strength is why it is so important that Flint voices be fully included in the decisions that shape the entire future of the University of Michigan Flint. This year's presidential search is one of these critical moments. While we value the contributions of the one member representing U of M Flint on the search committee, we are concerned that their perspective does not reflect all the voices of all the schools and colleges, nor does it capture the experience of staff, and most importantly, students. Limiting our representation to just one voice does not fully capture the depth of our campus community. But instead of simply dwelling on that concern, we chose to act. After discussing this concern with Central Student Government President Veal, we invited him to attend one of our General Assembly meetings this past week to understand the hopes of our students and how Flint can contribute to this process in a meaningful way. I'm grateful to President Veal for graciously agreeing to help ensure the next president of U of M is someone who values the unique strengths of each campus, who listens deeply to students, and who is committed to bridging the gaps across Ann Arbor, Dearborn, and Flint. The actions of student government demonstrate what progress can look like when inclusion is prioritized. It turned frustration into momentum, and it demonstrated that U of M Flint students are ready to be active partners in shaping the future of our university. My ask of you today is simple. As the search continues and as other university-wide initiatives move forward, we urge you to seek out and amplify U of M Flint voices. Doing so will not only strengthen decision-making, it will also build unity and trust across all three campuses. Just as I serve my peers by representing their voices, I hear every conversation, every concern, and every idea shared by a student as part of a larger responsibility to make sure no one on our campus feels unseen or unheard. I strive to bring their experiences into every room where decisions are made, because their perspectives shape the heart of who we are at U of M Flint. In that same spirit, we look to you as regents to represent and include the voices of Flint in this process. When the leadership of this institution listens to and values every campus equally, it sends a powerful message that the University of Michigan truly belongs to all of us, in Ann Arbor, Dearborn, and Flint alike. Thank you for your time and for your continued commitment to serving every campus of the University of Michigan. And as always, go blue.
Thank you, Samantha. Regent Bernstein would like to say something.
Samantha, we had dinner last night with some of the leadership of the university, and they were talking about how, and Paul was there, and Mike, who my colleagues were, and John was there. We were all, and they were all saying that student events this semester, they're running out of food. There's not enough chairs. The rooms are too small, and they all said it was your fault. Because you have been so engaging and energizing with respect to the relationship between our faculty and our staff and students. And you were given credit for this. And it's an enormous accomplishment that benefits Flint and the university more generally. So thank you for that. And we also look forward to, I've been talking also to President Veal, your counterpart at in Ann Arbor, and also student leaders in Dearborn, about setting up some opportunities to come up and just in smaller groups have a conversation about the presidential search. So looking forward to doing that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Vice President Kinsey will now take us through public comment.
Thank you, President Grasso. We are now moving into the public speaker section of the meeting. As part of their regular agenda, Regents set aside time for individuals to present comments to the board. All public board meetings are formal events convened under Article 8, Section 4 of the Michigan Constitution. In keeping with reasonable and appropriate norms of decorum, all attendees, including speakers, should treat others with respect and civility. Individuals who are approved to speak will be expected to speak to the topic that was submitted during the registration, truthfully disclose all organizational ties, and promptly cease speaking after the allotted time. Speakers who do not adhere to these rules will be precluded from addressing the board in the future. So thank you. And with that, I'd like to welcome our first speaker, David Rosenfeld. Welcome, David. Welcome, David. You have 2 minutes to speak.
Thank you. I'm here today to express my outrage over the university's shameful decision to deny my child and all trans youth under 19 vital, evidence-based, medically necessary, and fully legal gender-affirming health care. You knew this would cause grave harm to vulnerable children, and you were absolutely correct. For those of us with trans kids whom we love, support, and fight every day to keep healthy and safe, your August 25th announcement was a devastating blow. It sent shockwaves of fear and despair throughout our community, and those reverberations will not end until you reverse course. You claim an illegal subpoena forced your hand, but Boston Children's Hospital received the same subpoena, and they did not cave. They showed courage and compassion. They stood by their patients and providers and fought the subpoena legally. And just 2 weeks after your cowardly announcement, BCH were the victors in court. The subpoena was quashed, the Trump administration was ruled to have acted in bad faith, and BCH still proudly provides gender-affirming care to every patient who needs it. When I first heard that ruling, I felt both relief and heartbreak. Relief for them, heartbreak for us, because Michigan could have had the same outcome if only my alma mater had chosen courage over capitulation. So if you still want to call yourselves the leaders and best, take a note from BCH. Fight the subpoena. Restore gender-affirming care for patients under 19. Show us that our kids' lives and their privacy are safe in your hands. Thank you.
I agree with everything you said. I'm embarrassed by our decision. As someone who has a family member who's a transgender child, I understand, and I think it's a horrible and dangerous precedent that we would capitulate to politics in the decision on health care for a family and their doctor. And I keep asking the board and the university, when do we? What decision? What court decision? What medical establishment opinion has to happen until we will again provide this care?
Thank you, David. I'd like to call upon our next and final speaker, Brendan Lafreniere. Brendan, I hope I got that right. Thanks for the coaching. Welcome, Brendan, and you have 2 minutes to speak.
Good afternoon, and thank you for your time. My name is Brendan Lafreniere. I'm a student here at the University of Michigan and founder of Endurance for Change, LLC, a project that incorporates endurance, filmmaking, and community service to raise awareness and funds for those experiencing homelessness. In March of 2026, I will run 200 miles across the state of Michigan, stopping at shelters in Detroit, Ann Arbor, Lansing, and Grand Rapids to build meaningful connections and share the stories of those whose voices often go unheard. Our goal is to raise $100,000 for shelters in Michigan and form lasting relationships between the shelters, sponsors, and caring community members. I want to be clear, I'm not asking the university to acquire my LLC. I'm proposing a short-term fiscal sponsorship for the fundraising component only. This would allow donations to be routed through the university, ensuring full transparency, accountability, and donor trust. The university would oversee accounting and compliance, while my team would manage the run, the outreach, and the documentary, which we're producing in collaboration with the University of Michigan's film department. This initiative directly supports the University of Michigan's mission to serve the people of Michigan through preeminence in creating, communicating, preserving, and applying knowledge, and to develop leaders who will enrich our future. By supporting this partnership, Michigan can model what it means for a university to truly support student-led social innovation, where endurance, empathy, and storytelling interweave to drive real change. With your support, this project won't just raise money. It will raise awareness, deepen understanding of those experiencing homelessness, and strengthen the bond between our university and the communities we are called to serve. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Brendan. Mr. President, this concludes the public speaking.
Thank you, Vice President Kinsey. The meeting is adjourned.